Welcome back, guys. I hope everyone's safe. I hope your assets are safe. If you have a business, I hope it wasn't looted or burnt to the ground. All right. It's been a while. I've had double ear infections, and I've been really busy preparing. um, I'm going to talk about the markets, charts. I will try to make this a quick video. I know a lot of people are like, so what are your thoughts? I mean, it's pretty obvious. I post them on my Twitter and I post them in the newsroom. Links below the video. It's free. And you pretty much know my thoughts. I mean, now in the grand scheme of things, I will tell you guys what I think. So, I told you guys, the global population's like a powder keg with a very short fuse. And it doesn't matter what the fuse is. It was lit. And yeah, a lot of this is possibly planned, or they took advantage of the situation. And it is a uprising / coup type scenario by extreme leftists, right? And for one, that makes the U.S. look really weak, which it does, and it's so divided. A foreign entity could easily, like China, right, take advantage of this. And I don't think anyone else is thinking about that besides the current administration. The second thing is, everyone just saw how much power they really have. And how much power the state has as well. I mean, it's really, the people have all the power in masses, right? Now, I don't agree with the real underlying extremist groups that have hijacked the protests, right? Who are turning it into something else completely, right? Which is very bad for the rest of society, because it's all about money, control, and power. That's what it always comes down to, guys. Nobody cares about any single person or this or that. There's also statistics out there. Let's be real. I mean, the country was held hostage for a week, and it still might be. Like, it's still going on. So, but where is this all heading towards? Well, use your imagination, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the full effect of what has happened because of the overhyped virus, where they locked down all small businesses and everything, and the hypocrisy, right? People non-violently protested the fact that their businesses are going under and their economies are just imploding, and people are essentially on house arrest. And when they did that, that made sense, right? But now cities are burning down over some, let's say racial divide, but that's been being pushed. And I don't think this is going to actually make that better. Now, I sympathize. I get it. Like, I'm no fan of the boys in blue. Like, I'm not. And, totalitarian type. But, and you see, it's complicated because there's multiple psychological psyops going here. At the end of the day, all of this is going to lead towards more tribalism and more crisis. And you're going to see that. And it's only going to keep probably escalating as the economy gets worse and worse. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but the stock market's like about to make new all-time highs. The stock market's not the real economy. I mean, there's videos of just cities completely boarded up, and whatever businesses survived the hyped, I'm just gonna say virus. Um, I mean, they were devastated. The ones that survived that, not all of them, right? But you know, if 100 businesses go out in every major are taken out in every major city, that has larger ramifications on the whole because they all employed people, they all bought products, sold products, and it's like a death spiral of businesses going under. Because one business goes under, they fire all their employees, then those people stop shopping, and then more businesses go under, and you see what I'm saying. Anyways, so I was reading this. I'll post this in the newsroom. It's authored by M.N. Gordon. I mean, just this right here. The cheap credit and the cheap money printing isn't going to save. It's not going to cause a new V-bottom recovery for the real economy. And guys, the good times are over. It's just, let that sink in. And only bad times are coming for probably a very long time. Now, as the economy's buckled, the Fed's up to its antics again, but this time rather than just bailouts for big business and financial markets, the people demand bailouts too. And the modern monetary theory MMT crowd can point to the lesson of the past decade and the lack of price inflation as justification for printing. So these massive crowds, the states, and this is going global, by the way, and it's really not about what is it? Your tan, all right, on your skin. It's not about that. It's just people are looking for any excuse to just burn the entire system down and to get their piece of the pie that's shrinking and crumbling. All right, that's what it is. It's built up tensions. I mean, everyone's been locked up, right? A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people are just furious, and they're hopeless, and they're getting to the point of having nothing to lose. So why not go out on the weekends and just take what you can while you can? That's what it's going to come down to. That's what it's coming down to. And a great way to do that is to discredit the people preventing them from doing that, which is the boys in blue, right? And the boys in blue have been neutered now, so they're like, they can't they can't do anything. And it causes lawlessness, also a breakdown of like law and order, right? So you see all of the people at the top getting away with literally the most disgusting and gross things in the world, right? Like that dude that didn't kill himself, right? You know what I'm saying. I just can't say the name. So you see stuff like that. You see big corporations, banks getting bailed out. You see politicians and everyone just not following any laws, and there's no ramifications for them. So therefore, the people are like, well, I'm an idiot if I follow the laws, so I might as well just not get caught and get away with what I can. And if we all do it all at once, they can't stop us. And that's pretty much the mentality that's going on, which is an entitlement mentality. Although there's a lot of mentally ill kids out there doing this. And what I mean by that is they've been programmed. I mean, movies, right? Like The Purge, and it's all been pre-programmed, believe me. The elites, they've been planning. Although I feel like this is out of desperation as well. And at the same time, I feel like they've really miscalculated, because they're not going to be able to control the masses. So once you let the masses loose and they actually taste freedom and justice, and they see their own power, you really can't reel that back. They're going to try to. They're going to bring, there's going to be second phases of riots, and there's going to be second phase. They're going to try to revamp the second phase of the virus, right? But when people see stuff like this, right, it proves, you have to read this. You should watch that video as well. It proves that it was all hyped, and it was being used for control and a power grab. And then, what else is disgusting is that large corporations are funding movements that are leading towards destruction of small businesses, basically their competitors. And society as a whole, modern civilization, is eating itself at this point. It really is. And everyone's just fighting for what's left. It's pretty bad. So for years I've been telling you guys, just become self-reliant as much as humanly possible. Get out of the cities. And build communities, small communities, where there's high trust in the community, and you guys could help one another out. And that's how it used to be back in the day. And that's when people had families and flourished and were happy. And these big, metropolises aren't. You're not gonna find happiness there. I've been in New York for months at a time. It's fun for when you're young, and it's fun for a weekend or a week or something. But I wouldn't want to live there. So how's this gonna play out? I mean, just use your imagination, pretty much. And then in the end, it's gonna come down to whole nations doing this as well, to each other. So wars will probably break out, especially as one empire sees the other one weakened from the inside. And there are. I've talked about this in my one video that wasn't. I don't know how to say this. China, let's just say, has a lot of people on their payroll in the West. Okay. And listen, if everything falls from within, they could just march right in, and nobody's gonna come out on top. Nobody. All the brainwashed zombies, they're useful idiots. They'll be the first to be. They will be the first, and then all the people who think they're part of the club and part of the power structure, it's gonna whatever enslave all of us. They're not. It's only a very small group of people at the top who might. Even they are. It's questionable. But if the next century is theirs, we are screwed. I mean, let's just say they're gonna get some parts and pieces from us and be able to sell them globally from the healthy people. And the unhealthy, who knows what happens to them, and then they'll be sweatshops. And that sounds crazy now, doesn't it? But I guarantee you what happened in this past week or two, if I would have told you, think about this. December 2019, if I would have told you what would have happened in 2020, you wouldn't believe me. So whatever I'm telling you now and you don't believe that, is kind of like you in 2019. You didn't believe a global pandemic and just every major city in the U.S. burning would. You wouldn't think that would happen. Well, this is how fast things are moving. By the way, they're moving very fast. It's the quickening. Now things might die down in the next like month or something, and there'll be individual pockets of civil unrest here and there and everywhere. But the slow grind into third world banana republic is in full force now. I mean, this was we're already in the midst of it. I swear to God, if one more person asks me, asks me when the collapse, you're in it, dude. This is it. You are in it. It doesn't happen over one night. It happens, it gets worse and worse every week, slowly but surely. You're in it. Now, let's take a look at this. Well, let's cover a little bit of the news and then, see if I could think of anything based on these titles here. Yeah, world trade is just falling apart. A V-shaped recovery, mainstream keeps pushing it. Retail investors are pretty stupid. They actually believe everything's going to get back to normal because they have no idea what's going on in the first place. Because you guys need to understand, you guys who listen to me and some other people, we're a very small community. We are very small, I believe. And then some of our truth gets out to the masses, but they can't put the puzzle pieces and the big picture together. They really can't. They don't think like us. They can't think for themselves. Okay? So the masses are controlled. I mean, they've been the way the educational system works is you become an expert in one field and then you don't know anything about anything else. And the reason they did that is so you're a good worker bee for the big major corporations. But so you have no idea how finance or economics works or, geopolitical stuff. You don't know how science or health. You have no roundabout knowledge of everything. And you can't quickly learn new things either because you can't think for yourself. So therefore, all they taught you was how to memorize things, and then you go and do that and repeat it. Or you become an expert at one thing. And then you don't have any roundabout knowledge. And, there's a saying. What was that saying? Something of all, but not a master of one thing. I can't believe I forgot this. Master of one? No. Sure, you guys will put it in the comment section. So, you could do everything, but you're not a master of anything. And there's that saying. And there's some truth to that. You want to be an expert at one particular thing, and then you raise your social capital, meaning your wealth, your personal wealth and value to society if you're an expert at one thing. Yes. But having a roundabout knowledge of everything is kind of like having street smarts or common sense. And then when you do have knowledge of a lot of things, you could also articulate better. And like, for example, knowing about macroeconomics helps me understand why in different fields certain ways that things are done are likely to work or not work, if that makes sense. 40 plus million unemployed right now, and it's probably going to get worse. And I talked about the unemployment numbers. Guys, it's worse than the Great Depression. So you really shouldn't be surprised that cities are, you know. What else? Let's talk about the good parts about all of this. All right. Uh, so what are the good parts? Well, a lot of people are realizing to become more self-reliant, independent, which is good for society as a whole because if everyone's more self-reliant and independent, um, you're not forced to go steal other people's stuff, and it just creates a higher trust society, um, which is beneficial for prosperity, happiness, mental health, and well-being and business. Trust is the number one thing in business, and business is economics, right? Um, which leads to innovation and more uh, innovation and more better quality of life. So that saying, the hard times create strong men. The strong men um, create the good times. The good times create weak men, and the weak men create the hard times. It's cyclical. All this stuff is cyclical. That's why I'm not like so into trying to change the world and stop anything, because it is all cyclical. The only thing that people need, that I try to voice is the people at the very top really need to get out of the way, because if they don't, well, they will. And that's another good thing. Listen, I do not think they will ever accomplish any other major goals. If anything, they just create more crisis, and then they'll lose control of their own minions, and they will also be fed to the mob. I'm telling you, that's what's really going to happen in the end. But they will try to divide and conquer me while they still have power, and while anyone listens to the box, right, the TV. But eventually, people will stop listening to that. I mean, at this point, no one really takes them seriously. So that's good news as well. A lot of people bought self protection, which is good for you can't really. It's really hard if everyone has self protection to really roll out some sort of totalitarian state, or even an invading country like China, right? Like they would have a really hard time if everyone was armed, right? What else? Good news wise, um, th- I mean, this is happening globally, and everyone's starting to realize that the overhyped virus there is an agenda, right, for more control, and that's good. So a lot of lies will be exposed as well during times of turmoil, and people are gonna grow up. And I know it doesn't seem like it right now because there's a lot of kids in the street, but once it's gonna force people, it's gonna create strong men again. But things are gonna have to get a lot worse before that happens. So, what else? Let's just leave it at that. Unfortunately, I do think this will create um, the opposite reaction of, so all those people right now out on the streets, right? They want more equality, but this is actually probably going to cause the opposite, because everyone's watching, right? And yeah, it doesn't look good. So So Goldman's clients are asking, what happens if Orange Man loses and the left take control? Well, I've already talked about that. I mean, the bad part about that is we've ran out of time to prepare. The good part about it is, well, the other side's probably gonna rise up and take control. What's left of the middle class. What I mean by that. And that's when they lose complete control. Like people, who fund organizations who have agendas and just the corruption and blah blah blah, right? But it'll be very horrible and chaotic. I suggest you stay out of it and just head for the hills and I don't know, live in a cave. If you have, I don't know what to tell you guys. Just use your imagination how bad things will get. At least we're making money, so that's good. And use it to bunker down, basically. All right, let's get to some charts. What time? All right. So before I go to these, check out the dollar. The dollar's finally falling, and I told you guys I was gonna revisit the 200-day moving, the 200-week moving average, and it's getting pretty close. I still think there was a little more downside, and then we'll see because Europe's gonna do more QE, this and that, and then the DXY might bounce and trade still within this range. I say it gets really bad once it starts breaking below the 200-week moving average and below this purple line, which is a 94.6 handle. And that's when the dollar really starts getting weak and you're really going to start seeing some serious inflation. Although the DXY doesn't really measure inflation versus goods and services, right? You guys let me know if you guys see prices going up in the stores. So check this out. The NASDAQ is on a weekly TD9 sell. So is the FANG index. So is the Russell 2000. Okay, so whatever the NASDAQ does, the market tends to do. Except the NASDAQ moves higher because it's the big tech stocks. The FANG index, whatever the FANG index does, I mean literally the entire stock market does. And the Russell 2000 is more of a better indicator for the real economy, or it's closer to it because smaller companies. So all three of these are on sell indicators. Even the global Vanguard index is as well. I expect a correction soon. If not next week, the week after, it's soon. All right. So there's going to be a great, awesome, like huge trading opportunities. The private members know, and awesome shorting opportunities where you could get like 10x possibly. Now, I'm not saying the market's going to crash. I'm just saying there's going to be a correction, at minimum a decent sized pullback. Okay, coming soon. By the way, the Fed just printed another $1 trillion for stimulus. The balance sheet's like over $7 trillion, but it's really over 10. And I understand that they keep pumping liquidity into the markets, and TA no longer matters, blah, blah, blah. It still matters, guys, because momentum cannot be sustained. And by the way, I mean, we're past the greatest depression ever, and people actually think that the economy is going to recover on a dime or something. It's not. Oliver, like, just based off of what happened the past week, and how many jobs have been lost. And the market rallied like almost 1,000 points Friday. It did at one point go over 1,000, based on the fact that there wasn't a negative print of job losses. There was actually a lot of hiring. Well, everything did kind of open up, didn't it? So, but there's still 40 million plus. And then eventually, once it sinks into everyone's brain that employers are going to start firing people again because the economy's not going to really recover, then, but that's later down the road. Right now, there's some sort of euphoria around the fact that return to normal, and that's just ridiculous. The amount of debt and the amount of businesses, small businesses that have gone under. And you have to understand, these small businesses, the ones that have already gone under and the ones that are still alive but took, the stimulus, a lot of those are still going to go under. They are the number one employers within the population. It's not these big companies. The big companies don't employ that many people, believe it or not. They're very efficient. They have like robotics and supply chain, logistics. I mean, they do hire, but overall, it's like, I forgot the stats, don't quote me, but small businesses hire the majority of people in the country. And they're the ones always suffering due to what? State policies and laws and regulations, and during crisis laws, right? Like, small businesses all had to shut down for months while the big box stores were able to stay open. Why is that? Was that planned? I think the small businesses would have been safer. Yeah, it was all planned. And people need to realize this shit. And you guys who listen to me, I don't know, make an anonymous account on Twitter. You guys need to spread the word and speak out while you still can. Because when you can't, you're going to wish you did do something. By the way, money's not going to save you. It's not. Matter of fact, the more of it you have, the bigger target you're going to be in the future. And they'll just, once we lose our freedoms, they're going to just take it from you. And then, who knows what will happen to you physically. So, now's the time to I'm not telling you to go do anything physically or anything. At least make an account and speak up and educate the public. Because it's, we're in it now. Do it while you still can. That's what really ticks me off about these other people on YouTube and all the other social medias. They don't get it. Nobody understands the real gravity of the situation. And if you think you're safe, like, outside the cities, like right outside, you're not. So, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, do what you can while you can. The euro versus the dollar. So the euro had a nice bounce here, but Europe's also in trouble. I think it's still going to trade in this range. Here's the S&P. Let's go to a weekly. It's on a 3 count. Technically should go to a 9. So at least 2 weeks pullback and then maybe higher, or it just falls and does a full 9 count all the way back down, maybe towards 2,500 or 2,400. But we shall see. I don't know how deep the correction or pullback will be. All I know is it's really overdue. And the weaker stocks, the low-hanging fruit, those are going to fall much more. So they could fall 30, 40, 50%. And that's an awesome, trade. If you're more sophisticated, you have many years of experience, you have a lot of money in your brokerage account, yeah, you could leverage up with some options and do hundreds and hundreds of percent gains on the correction. Same thing going long with, let's say, mining stocks, right? But you know, I'll talk about that in a second. Anyways, the FANG index, it's on a weekly TDI9 sell signal. Let's take a look at the daily. Give it a second to load. And then I will look at mining stocks, miners. By the way, go to my website. Product, the information and the knowledge you'll gain pays for itself. I share my trades. We have reports. We look for opportunities in the mining sector. I am pretty confident we have the best. We've already found all the best. I have stocks in my portfolio that have gone up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent. Hundreds. Like there are 6x, 10x, and 15x's already. It's not too late though. I mean, still early. Matter of fact, all the mining stocks pulled back this week. Great buying opportunity, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Consult your licensed financial advisor. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. All right. The daily is also on a TDI 9 sell. Can it overshoot a little higher, go above 4,000? Sure, and then it'll dump. It's never perfect. And this isn't the only indicator I look at. I look at all the oscillators. I mean, look at this. MACD overextended. Momentum indicator overextended. RSI overextended. They're all overextended. So when all your ducks are lined up in a row, the higher the probability. What else? Oh yeah, check this out. The VIX. The VIX is on a TDI 9 buy signal. All oscillators are overextended to the downside. So the VIX is also due to pop. And then I have other ETFs, 3x bulls, that I use to short the market by going long inverse ETFs. And that's for private members. Let's talk about gold. So gold dumped. It fell all the way to Friday. 1671. Am I worried? No. It's just another dip buying opportunity. Can it fall a little further? Yeah, you know, it might fall to 1660. But honestly, so what? Who cares? That's not that big of a correction. 6 to 1650, let's say, or 60. Let's say 50, 1650. I think buyers will step in. Now, worst case scenario is it dumps all the way back down to 1570 or something like that. But I don't think that's likely. I think this is just a dip buying opportunity. I think this is a dip. It's not going to be some pullback or correction. The weekly is neutral. But listen, silver is very bullish. And I think that's just going to pull gold up anyways. Or it just trades sideways for next, let's say, 2 months. And then we finally go into the raging bull market. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, I think this is a great dip buying opportunity. It is for mining stocks and for physical right now. But you have to understand, it doesn't matter if gold like trades anywhere from the current price of 1688 to 1700, because the mining stocks, their stock shares are still priced at around like 14 or 1300 gold an ounce and like $14 an ounce silver. So the price could literally go sideways for the next year and the mining stocks are still going to go up. because they're still undervalued. And their earnings and revenue and their balance sheets are only going to go up or get better. And they will be the most profitable companies within the equities markets, basically. So it doesn't matter. The mining stocks are still going to go up. Do you understand what I'm saying? As long as it doesn't fall back down to 1,300, it's fine. And I don't think the markets are going to crash. They're not going to allow it to. They're just going to print more. So, I mean, this is the easiest no-brainer trade and investment, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe it could go back to 1650. So what? I hope it does. I'll buy more. And more and more and more. And keep buying the dips. And then later this summer, like maybe a few weeks, or maybe it'll start next week. I don't know, guys. It all depends on when the Fed comes out with more QE. We're going to have a great summer, trust me. And going into the third and fourth quarter. I really think we are. I could be wrong, though. But I think we are. Again, let me show you this. This is the GDX is the blue line, GDXJ is the green line, GDX large cap mining companies, GDXJ are still large cap mining companies, but a little bit smaller maybe. Listen, these lines are supposed to be higher than the orange line, which is the price of gold. And they will be. They have to catch up. So even if gold did fall, let's say, down to here, these still have to catch up to it. And they're going to rise. Now, these are the mining ETFs everyone knows about. I have better ones in the private group that perform way better. And then there's the individual mining stocks, right, that I look at that perform way, way better. So... But I don't even think that's going to happen. I think this is just a little dip. Maybe sideways for gold here. And then up. And then these have to catch up. And then silver. I mean, silver's just getting ready to rock. And I've talked about that in my previous videos. My blue equilibrium line on the weekly here is getting crossed by the 200-week moving average. And that's a signal for a breakout into a new bull market. Just like I said back in 2018. All of 2018, I kept telling you guys, gold's going to go into a bull market. And this is when gold was like at like $1,100 or $1,200. And I was telling you guys, look at the blue line on the weekly and look at the moving averages. When the moving averages cross back above the blue line, they're coming out of a bear market going into a huge bull market. Imagine if you listened to me back then, in 2018, when I told you to start looking into metals and mining stocks, how well you would be sitting right now. You'd be sitting very well, I know. Now, I started way earlier, though, like back in 2015. But when I really started going in heavy was 2018. Then I just kept adding ever since then. And I'm still adding. I'm still buying mining shares right now. Alright, I think that's good for now, guys. Smash some likes. Leave anything in the comment section. Go to my website. Go to my free chat groups. The links are all below this video. And, yeah, see you guys. I'm going to try to make a few more videos. It's just that my ears are really messed up. And, I have some sort of crazy infection. And, like, I couldn't hear, but whenever I would talk, and even as I talk now, it, like, just echoes inside my head. And I was busy preparing for the end for the past few weeks. All right, guys. Later.